So this is all about whether you should own your rental property in an LLC. A lot of people own rental property, residential, commercial, and some people own that property in their own name, or maybe they own it with their spouse. And there's some real liability concerns when that's the case, because if you own a piece of rental property in your name, and let's say that person who's renting the property gets hurt or gets hurt bad, they're going to sue the owner of the property, and they're going to sue you because you're the owner of the property. Perhaps you have insurance, but to the extent the judgment exceeds the amount of insurance that you have, or maybe if the claim is something that the insurance doesn't cover, then because you owned the property, you're responsible to pay that debt or that judgment. So that creditor could take not only your rental property, they could take your home, your other rental property, your bank accounts, your investments, any inheritance that you may have received. They can take all that, they can take everything you own. So what a lot of people do is, instead of owning their rental property in their own name, they own it inside of an LLC or limited liability company. So the idea there is, let's say you own a piece of rental property and the address is 123 Sesame Street. You transfer that property into your LLC. Maybe that LLC is called 123 Sesame Street Properties LLC. And now when somebody gets injured, they're going to sue the owner of the property. They're going to sue the LLC. And the worst thing that could happen is they could take, that LLC's, assets. But all of your other personal assets would be protected. All of your savings, your home, your other property, your business. So all that would be protected. So a lot of people like that liability protection that they get from owning their rental property inside of an LLC. Now there's four, considerations that you need to take into account before you transfer your rental property to an LLC. One is the taxes. And in general, an LLC is a flow-through entity. So your taxes aren't going to change any by transferring your rental property to an LLC. You'll still pay income tax personally on the LLC income. The other aspect that you need to look into is the liability insurance. This is kind of hit or miss depending upon who your liability insurance is with, but we've seen some people, when they transfer their rental property from their name to an LLC, the insurance company says, "Whoa, Nellie, now we're going to have to insure you as a commercial property, and the insurance is going to be more expensive." Don't see that a lot, but just you need to look into it before you do that. A couple of other pieces to that part of that puzzle. If you do plan on, gifting or giving away interest in your rental property, maybe to your children for estate planning purposes, it's a lot easier to do it if it's inside an LLC. You can give them membership interests in the LLC. It makes it a lot easier for gifting than trying to give them a fractional undivided interest in property. And then the fourth and final point is people who want to make sure they avoid probate when they die. They'll transfer their LLC to their trust or their living trust. So when they die, that LLC, that company interest, is not frozen, and the transfer of the LLC to the heirs doesn't have to be supervised by the courts. That successor trustee can then transfer the LLC interest out of the trust to the appropriate heirs. So those are some issues involved. The biggest one, I think, is the liability potential. So make sure you're aware of that as you own rental property or start to acquire rental property. Maybe the easiest way to do it is get all of it straight as you acquire, any new pieces of rental property. So hope this helps. Go out and protect yourself, and go Tigers.